Hello everybody, this is Terry Jeanette with the Tapping Flamingo. Today I am going to make a piece of jewelry using a photograph as an inspiration. So each month, SJ Designs Jewelry, her husband shares a photograph with her to help with some inspiration. And she opens this up to all of her friends. She calls it the Honeydo Challenge. This month we have this picture, and I will post a picture of it here so you can see it in just a few minutes. But I wanted to discuss a little bit. We've got all kinds of colors in here today. We've got blues and yellows and oranges and even some reds here. So I'm going to blow that up. And then we also have some texture looking in here. So I'm going to show you, I'll show you the picture so you can take a closer look at it. And then I'm going to show you the beads that I've picked out to make our piece of jewelry. So when I look at that picture, the first thing that stuck out to me was the blue. And I have these blue bicone beads that I got from Jesse James Beads a couple of months ago. And they're almost the exact same color. And in that same shipment, I got it in the secret stash box, I also got this hemp cording. So that's what we're going to use for the blue element in that picture. And then I see lots of yellows and oranges. This is what I've picked out to use for the yellow. I got this from the curated bead box. And then something else I got from the curated bead box was the orange. It's more of a tangerine, but I think that's going to look really nice. And then I'm like, well, there's reds and greens in there, and I really wanted some green. So I kind of dug around in my stash, and I found these green glass beads. So I think those are going to work really nice. And then I'm like, okay, how am I going to put this together? And I thought, you know what? I think I want to make an anklet. And I want to use a button for the closure. And I found this button. And it has the red in there. And when I look at the picture, it almost has a floral feel to it. So this button's going to work perfectly. Now, you're probably thinking, red, how's that going to go? I think it actually goes nicely with all these beads. It's more of an orangey tint. And even though I don't have any red beads, I think this palette is going to work really well together. Now, I want to show you kind of the idea of how I'm going to put this bracelet together, or this anklet together. I did a video on this bracelet, and I've been wearing it quite a bit. I really love it a lot. And I wanted to make some more bracelets, and honestly, I thought I did videos doing these, but then when I went back to edit, the video had disappeared. Ugh. I don't know exactly what happened with that, but anyway, I'm going to go ahead and show them to you now. I just used some things I got from Bargain Bead Box in June, and I have a little gold button, and I made this bracelet with the little dangles. And then this was also from a Bargain Bead Box. Again, you have the little dangles there. And then this was from a curated bead box, Bumblebees. And we are going to make an anklet using the same technique. So the first thing I'm going to do is measure out my hemp. So I've measured about 48 inches of hemp. I think this is going to be longer than what we need, but I'd rather it be longer than shorter. Typically an anklet is about 9 inches. And that's what I'm going to make this one. And the first thing I'm going to do is to put the button on. And this is a 2-hole button. So I'm just going to thread the button so this part, the pretty part's facing out. Make sure my hemp is even, and I'm going to do an overhand knot. Just slide your knot as close down there as possible. You do want to give it a little bit of wiggle room. You don't want it to be too tight. Okay, so I got my button on there, and you don't need a whole lot of beads for this particular style bracelet, but I am going to get some of these buttons off of these shanks. Okay, we probably don't need any more than that. In fact, that's probably too many. So I tested all these beads to see if 2 strands would fit through any of them. And surprisingly, 2 strands fit in all of them except for the green beads. So while I am designing this bracelet, this anklet, I need to keep that in mind. So I do think I want to start out with, I think I'm going to start with the blue. And I'm going to put both threads on there. And you don't have to put both threads on there. In fact, I just said it fit, but it's not fitting now. Okay, you know what? I'm just going to use one. There we go. And then I'm going to do an overhand knot. And I don't want the bead up like this. I want it down a little bit. So when I make my knot, I need to take that into consideration. You know, I really want this to be on 2. Let me try this again. I'm not going to put all of them on 2 strings, but this first one, I would really like it to be on both strings. Ah, there, I did. I did it! Okay, so now I'm going to do an overhand knot. And I think I'm going to make another knot because I want to make sure this bead does not slide off that knot. So I'm just going to do another one on top of that. There we go. All right, the next one. So we have these beads are bigger and the yellow beads are bigger. And then we have the orange and the green are smaller. So I am going to alternate big and little. I'm not going to put 2 big beads together. And I think I'm going to do orange next. And I'm only going to put the orange on 1 piece of string. And then tie an overhand knot. And then the next one will be the yellow bead. And let's see if I can get that on 2 strings. I did. Good. Anyway, I'm going to continue to add these beads. The next bead will be a green bead. Let's see, I don't think, yeah, I'm going to go ahead on the bigger beads, tie 2 knots. Anyway, let me finish stringing them up and I'll come back to show you what's next. So I have everything tied up here, and I did have to, these last 2, kind of disappointed. I couldn't get them to fit on the string. As you go, they tend to ravel, and I kept having to trim them, but I'm like, you know what? It'll be fine. So if that bothers you, I suggest that you just put them on 1 string. All right, so now we have to finish the closure. And I measured this, and it will be 9 inches. I measured around my ankle, and it's going to be perfect. So now we need to determine where to tie our knot, and we need a big enough opening where the button is going to fit through. So about like that. So I'm going to start tying the overhand knot. And before I tighten it too much, I want to make sure this is going to fit. Yes, and it is going to fit. Let's go ahead and tighten it up. And now we're going to do some dangles. Trim these a little bit. All right, let's see. What dangles do we want? I usually like to do 2 dangles and 2 beads on, at least 2 beads. This has got 3 beads on each dangle. So maybe we can do, see, we have 4 different kinds of beads here. So maybe, all right, I think I'm going to do an orange and a blue together. And then tie overhand knots so the beads won't fall off. And I'm going to tie another knot. I just want to make sure those beads stay on. And if you want, you can use like a needle or a pen. Actually, let me get, this thing is great. There we go. And then this side, we're going to do the green and the yellow. And I kind of like them to be a little, like, not even, one lower than the other. So I'll tie this knot a little bit lower. There we go. By the way, just want to let you know while I'm finishing this up, if you go check out SJ Designs Jewelry, her blog, you will see other people who are participating in this challenge, including her creations. So I suggest you go do that. There's some really talented people out there. And it may inspire you. All right, I think I may do one more knot on this, maybe. Let's see. No, I think it's on there okay. Nah, I just want to make sure. I'll leave a link down in the description box below so you can just go click on it and it will take you right to SJ's blog. All right, so we got all that on there, and then I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim these, and then maybe I'm just going to unravel them. I wonder what that would look like. Kind of give it a little boho. Eventually they're probably going to unravel on their own, which I like that look. It's very boho. And I just take a pin and just kind of unravel it and shred it up. Make it look worn. And once I get it how I like it, I'll have to trim it a little bit. Let me work on this and then I'll come back and show you the finished product here. And there's the anklet all finished. When you wear this, this will actually hang on the outside by your ankle, by your little ankle bone. I'll take some pictures and that way you'll see it. This will be more on the inside. Although, you know, anklets, just like bracelets, they spin around a lot. So there'll be different places on your ankle throughout the day. But when you first put it on, it's supposed to lay on the outside next to that bone, to your ankle bone. And here it is on my ankle. I really enjoyed making this with you, and I hope you try making one. Let me know if you do. And I hope you all have a fantastically wonderful day. This is Terry Jeanette with the Tapping Flamingo signing out for now. Bye-bye.